History is often defined by revolutionary moments, those pivotal points where the course of human events shifts dramatically. In the United States, the journey of African Americans from the shadows to the spotlight is marked by such moments. Today, we dive into revolutionary moments in African American history. Prepare to be captivated as we uncover the events that reshaped the destiny of a nation and its people. The Emancipation Proclamation, 1863. Imagine a time when millions were bound by chains, denied the most basic of human rights. The Emancipation Proclamation, issued by President Abraham Lincoln on January 1, 1863, was a revolutionary decree. It declared that all slaves in the Confederate States were to be set free. Though it did not end slavery outright, it transformed the Civil War into a fight for freedom and human dignity. Lincoln's proclamation was not just a moral declaration, but also a strategic war measure. It allowed African Americans to join the Union Army and Navy, bolstering the North's numbers with over 200,000 black soldiers and sailors who fought bravely for their own liberation and the preservation of the Union. This powerful move was a beacon of hope, igniting the flames of liberation and justice. The Civil Rights Act of 1866. In the wake of the Civil War, the United States faced the daunting task of rebuilding and redefining itself. The Civil Rights Act of 1866 was a groundbreaking step in this direction. It was the first United States federal law to define citizenship and affirm that all citizens are equally protected by the law. The act aimed to eradicate the vestiges of slavery and laid the groundwork for a more just society. Despite its significance, the act faced immense opposition. President Andrew Johnson vetoed it, but Congress overrode his veto, marking a rare and powerful assertion of legislative authority. Yet, the implementation was met with violent resistance, particularly from groups like the Ku Klux Klan, who sought to maintain white supremacy through terror and intimidation. The 13th Amendment, 1865. While the Emancipation Proclamation was a critical milestone, the 13th Amendment, ratified on December 6, 1865, sealed the fate of slavery in the United States. It abolished slavery in all forms, proclaiming that neither slavery nor involuntary servitude shall exist within the United States. This amendment was a triumph of justice, a powerful assertion of human rights, and a foundational change that would echo through the generations. The end of slavery marked the beginning of a new era for African Americans, filled with both hope and hardship. Freedmen and women sought to reunite families torn apart by slavery, establish schools, and create vibrant communities. However, the promise of freedom was often undercut by systemic racism, economic exploitation, and the rise of black codes designed to restrict the rights of African Americans. The 15th Amendment. The journey toward equality continued with the 15th Amendment, ratified on February 3, 1870. This landmark amendment prohibited the federal and state governments from denying a citizen the right to vote based on race, color, or previous condition of servitude. It was a monumental victory for African American men, who could now participate in the democratic process. For the first time, African Americans were elected to public office, with notable figures like Hiram Revels and Blanche K. Bruce serving in the U.S. Senate. However, the struggle to exercise this right was far from over. Poll taxes, literacy tests, and violent intimidation tactics were used to disenfranchise black voters, leading to a long and arduous fight for true electoral equality. Brown versus Board of Education, 1954. Fast forward to the mid-20th century, where the battle for civil rights took on new dimensions. On May 17, 1954, the U.S. Supreme Court delivered a unanimous decision in Brown versus Board of Education, declaring that racial segregation in public schools was unconstitutional. This landmark case overturned the separate but equal doctrine established by Plessy versus Ferguson in 1896. The Brown decision was a seismic shift that paved the way for integration and the broader civil rights movement. It highlighted the inherent inequalities in segregated schools, where African American children often receive substandard education and resources. The ruling inspired hope but also faced fierce resistance, leading to a turbulent period of social upheaval and the slow, often violent, process of desegregation. The Civil Rights Movement, 1950s to 1960s. The Civil Rights Movement of the 1950s and 1960s was a revolution of hearts and minds, a relentless pursuit of justice and equality. Led by figures like Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, and Malcolm X, this movement harnessed the power of nonviolent protest and civil disobedience. The Montgomery bus boycott, sparked by Rosa Parks' courageous act of defiance, demonstrated the power of collective action. The March on Washington, where Dr. King delivered his iconic "I Have a Dream" speech, galvanized the nation. The Freedom Rides challenged segregation in interstate travel, often met with brutal violence, but also drawing national attention to the cause. This movement sought to dismantle systemic racism, secure voting rights, and achieve economic and social justice for African Americans. It galvanized the nation and set the stage for legislative triumphs that would follow. The Civil Rights Act of 1964. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 was a legislative masterpiece, a testament to the tireless efforts of civil rights activists. Signed into law by President Lyndon B. Johnson on July 2, 1964, this act prohibited discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. This act addressed issues of inequality in employment, education, and public accommodations, marking a significant leap toward a more equitable society. It was the culmination of years of activism and sacrifice, with many paying the ultimate price for freedom and justice. The Voting Rights Act of 1965. The fight for voting rights reached a critical juncture with the passage of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Spurred by the bravery of marchers in Selma, Alabama, and nationwide activism, this act aimed to overcome legal barriers at the state and local levels that prevented African Americans from exercising their right to vote. The Selma marches, particularly Bloody Sunday, where peaceful protesters were brutally attacked, shocked the nation and highlighted the urgent need for change. The Voting Rights Act, signed into law in August 1965, was a monumental victory for democracy and a significant stride toward political equality. It empowered federal oversight of voter registration and elections in areas with a history of discriminatory practices, ensuring that all citizens could participate in the democratic process. The Black Power movement, 1960s to 1970s. As the civil rights movement evolved, a new wave of activism emerged, the Black Power movement. This movement, prominent in the late 1960s and 1970s, emphasized racial pride, economic empowerment, and the creation of political and cultural institutions. Leaders like Stokely Carmichael and the Black Panther Party championed a more radical approach, advocating for self-determination and challenging the status quo. The Black Panther Party, founded by Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale, provided community programs such as free breakfast for children and health clinics, while also calling for an end to police brutality and systemic oppression. Angela Davis, an outspoken activist and scholar, highlighted issues of racial, gender, and economic injustice. The Black Power movement left an indelible mark on the fight for civil rights and the cultural identity of African Americans, promoting a message of empowerment and resilience. The election of Barack Obama, 2008. In 2008, a momentous event took place that symbolized the profound progress achieved over decades of struggle. Barack Obama, a senator from Illinois, was elected as the 44th President of the United States, becoming the first African American to hold the nation's highest office. Obama's election was a historic milestone, reflecting the long journey from the shadows of oppression to the spotlight of leadership and influence. His campaign, centered on themes of hope and change, resonated with millions across the country. His presidency broke barriers and inspired a new generation to believe in the possibilities of the American dream. While his presidency was not without challenges and criticisms, it represented a significant step toward a more inclusive and diverse political landscape. It was a testament to the enduring spirit of hope and the relentless pursuit of the American dream. From the Emancipation Proclamation to the election of Barack Obama, these revolutionary moments in African American history have been beacons of hope, resilience, and transformation. They remind us of the relentless fight for justice, equality, and human dignity. As we reflect on these pivotal events, we are inspired to continue the journey toward a more inclusive and just society. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of revolutionary moments in African American history, from shadows to spotlight. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more captivating stories from around the world.